What does it mean to max fund or maximum fund an IUL, Index Universal Life Policy? Earning a pathetic 1 or 2% rate of return, and they're going, where can I put this to get a better rate of return and increase the safety? Well, I would always tell them, well, why don't you put that 100,000 where banks and credit unions are putting your money that's sitting in the bank. So Universal Life knocks the socks off of other alternatives. I have to be earning 15 or 16% in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k after tax to net 10. I only have to earn 11 in net 10 in an IUL. You want to put in the most money the IRS allows as fast as they allow under 3 tax citations so that it turns into a tax-free cash cow and that the costs become cheaper as you get older and that you have a great net internal rate of return within 1% of the gross rate of return. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist and a retirement planning specialist now for 5 decades. And I've helped thousands of people prepare for long-term goals, such as a comfortable retirement, so that they will not outlive their money. And most people in retirement will outlive their money if they follow the herd, putting money in traditional IRAs and 401ks invested in the market because of 3 big dangers: taxes, inflation, and market volatility. So my favorite financial vehicle is a max-funded IUL because it knocks the socks off of the same amount of money invested in IRAs or 401ks in the market, okay? Now, you could also have goals for college funding for your kids and grandkids or working capital for your business, real estate management, emergency funds, estate planning, pension maximization if you're a school teacher, on and on and on. You can learn about all the different applications of max-funded IUL because it's like a financial Swiss Army knife. It has many, many uses. But in this episode, let's talk about what it means to max fund, okay? So when people would come to me, many times they were not necessarily interested in life insurance for death benefit. They actually wanted to be shown the best place where they could put their money, where I put my money, so that it would grow at the best net internal rate of return after all costs and net them the most at the time in life they're going to be needing the money the most, retirement, let's say. Well, without question, I knew that a properly structured, max-funded Index Universal Life would knock the socks off of a traditional IRA or 401k invested in the market, or annuities, or municipal bonds, or whatever. But it must be structured correctly, and I have some videos that explain what I mean by that. But you're trying to max fund it. Now, when you max fund it, there's this spectrum. So let's go back to when Universal Life was first introduced in 1980 by E.F. Hutton, who was not really an insurance company. They were a brokerage firm, but they realized in the Internal Revenue Code that there's 3 sections of the code, Section 72E, 7702, and 101A, that for now more than a century allows money inside of a permanent life insurance policy to grow tax-free under Section 72E. The interest, the dividends you earn are tax-free. But Section 7702 gave you the ability to access money out of that policy while you were alive without having to pay tax on the gains. And ultimately, when you died, when it blossomed, it increased and paid out a tax-free death benefit. That was income tax-free under Section 101A of the code. Anything you leave behind blossoms and transfers tax-free. Now, nothing else does that in the Internal Revenue Code. I've taught advanced continuing education for years to CPAs and tax attorneys, and I've asked them, show me one other financial instrument in the Internal Revenue Code that does that, and they've yet to show me that. So E.F. Hutton was the brainchild behind that. And so what they did in 1980, they said, well, instead of buying term and investing the difference and buying the most insurance that you want and paying the least premium, okay, this is an example of minimum funding because that's what most people think. I want the cheapest premium for, let's say, $1 million of life insurance, okay? So that's minimum funding. What's the cheapest premium I can pay to have this much life insurance? That's minimum funding. E.F. Hutton said, what are we thinking? Let's take the least amount of insurance we can get away with in the Internal Revenue Code definitions and put in the most premium. Let's maximum fund it that the IRS allows as fast as they allow. And this thing will turn into a living benefit, tax-free cash cow, to where the money grows inside the insurance policy to equal and exceed the death benefit within 10 years, okay? People will be self-insured. There will be no cost for the insurance because their money grows to equal the death benefit. Now you're self-insured, okay? This is called maximum funding. So let's use some actual examples here to simplify this. Most of my clients that came to me were, 55 to 75 years old, and they may want to reposition $500,000. And so they were trying to optimize their assets and minimize taxes. When I talk about asset optimization, they want to increase the liquidity, the safety, the rate of return of the tax benefits. So they may have $200,000 that they're getting from the sale of a rental home that was an albatross around their neck. They were sick and tired of taking out the trash and fixing toilets and evicting tenants. And so they said, I just want to get rid of this piece of real estate, this rental home. And they have $200,000 coming out of that. And they want to know, where should I put this? They might have another $200,000. They're netting out of $300,000. They're going to roll out of IRAs and 401ks because they're sick and tired of the volatile market where they're not making money. And they're going to pay tax on it, and they want to get the taxes over and done with sooner than later. So they pull out $300,000 out of their IRAs or 401ks in a 33% bracket. They pay $100,000 in tax to get it over and done with. They're not saving by deferring, and they're netting $200,000. Where do I put this $200,000 net out of my IRA or 401k rollout? So there's another $200,000. Maybe they have another $100,000 sitting in a bank or credit union, earning a pathetic 1 or 2% rate of return. And they're going, where can I put this to get a better rate of return and increase the safety? Well, I would always tell them, well, why don't you put that $100,000 where banks and credit unions are putting your money that's sitting in the bank? Well, where's that? Well, banks and credit unions disclosed in 2008, they take 30 to 40% of their tier 1 assets and put it into insurance companies and earn 5 times what they're paying you. They're paying you 1%, they're earning 5%, and it's tax-free. And they're increasing the safety by 6 notches. Most banks were rated BBB, and most of these insurance companies are rated AAA, which is 6 notches higher in safety. So what I'm telling people is you want to optimize your assets, you increase the liquidity, the ability to access your money, the safety by 5, 6 notches higher, okay? And the rate of return, where you're earning a way better rate of return, and the tax benefits. Why don't you convert to tax-free, which is far better than tax-deferred? That's called optimizing assets, minimizing taxes. So in this example I just gave you, $200,000 they want to reposition out of a rental home they sold. $200,000 net out of their IRAs or 401ks, another $100,000 to get it out of a bank or credit union, okay? That's a total of $500,000. What E.F. Hutton said is, if somebody wanted to reposition $500,000, you could buy a whole bunch of life insurance for $500,000. That's not the objective. You want the least amount of insurance. You want to maximum fund it. So the least amount of insurance isn't to buy 5 or 10 million of life insurance with $500,000. You want to get away with the least amount. Well, if you're 60 years old and you want to put in $500,000 into an index universal life policy in this example, you can get away with only $1 million of death benefit, okay? You don't need 5 million or 10 million. Could you get that much? Yeah, but that's not what you want, because that would gobble up all of the interest you're going to earn on that 500,000. So basically, you can get away with $1 million of insurance. If it's structured correctly, use the level death benefit. And you'll see why if you watch that episode here in this series. But in a nutshell, you put in 500,000. You can't put it in all at once like you used to in 1980. After 1988, you had to spread it out. But I can get that 500,000 in, 100,000 the first day of the first year, 100,000 more the first day of the second year. And so in 4 years and 1 day into the 5th year, I can get my 500,000 in. Whole life, you have to wait 7 years to get it all in. So you can get more money in quicker. That's why I like universal life. But you can get away with less insurance. To accommodate $500,000, I only need $1 million of death benefit if I'm a 60-year-old. If it's whole life, I may have to have $1.2 million or $1.3 million. I have to, my costs are going to be higher. Yeah, you get more insurance, but it's costing you more. That's why whole life takes until age 95. If you earned 8% gross, you're only going to net 5.9% by age 95. With universal life, I can earn 8 and net 7 by age 65. But I can diversify and rebalance and earn 11 and net 10 by age 65. Okay? So universal life knocks the socks off of other alternatives. I'd have to be earning 15 or 16% in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k after tax to net 10. I only have to earn 11 in net 10 in an IUL if you maximum fund it. So let's get back to what does it mean to maximum fund? It means calculate the amount of money that you want to be grandfathered to put into the policy, okay? And it's technically based upon a GSP, a guideline single premium. Watch the episode that talks about GSP. That's the amount of money you want to put in during the first 11 years. But under this example, this person's going to put it in the first 4 years in 1 day. You don't need to calculate it under 11 years because you're not going to be putting money in for 11 years. You're going to put it in 5 installments, 4 years in 1 day. So that's $500,000. So you're maximum funding it with $500,000, and you want to get it in there as fast as the IRS allows. That would be under TAMRA, 5 payments of $100,000, but the last payment can be made the first day of the 5th year. It's actually maximum funded in 4 years in 1 day. Whole life would take 6 years in 1 day. So that's maximum funding, and you're getting away with less insurance. For 60 years old, I can get away with $1 million, and that $500,000 then can double to $1 million and equal and then exceed the death benefit within another 7.5 years. Maximum funding means that you'll become self-insured. It's like buying term and investing, the difference on steroids, because the invested difference in the IUL policy grows to equal and exceed the death benefit, usually within 11 or 12 years. If you now have $1 million, that can generate $100,000 a year of tax-free income because you maximum funded it. The costs are now, the cash value equals and exceeds the death benefit. If you don't need to access money yet, it sits and grows. In another 7.5 years, that $1 million of cash value doubles to $2 million. If you don't need it yet, it doubles to $4 million in another 7.5 years. And then that doubles to $8 million. We've had people start out with $500,000 that now have $8 million. That $8 million can generate $600,000 to $800,000 a year of tax-free income. Why? Because they maximum funded it. If you understand how to do this, then this turns into a tax-free cash cow where you are self-insured and you maximum funded it and you took the least amount of insurance that allowed you to be able to earn at the end of the day, if you averaged 11 by rebalancing and diversifying, if you earned 11, you'll net 10. If you only earn 8, you'll net 7. Most agents who don't know how to do this, you'd be lucky to earn 7 average, but you'd only net 1 or 2 because you didn't know what I'm teaching here. So the message is this. If you're a member of the general public and you're wanting to utilize IUL as a superior capital accumulation tool, money accumulation tool for all kinds of goals such as retirement that'll knock the socks off of your IRA or 401ks, make sure you have it set up correctly. So here's the first step. I would recommend you study this book. If you study this book, you'll know more than 99.9% of IUL agents do. Now, this retails on Amazon for $20 plus shipping. And if you buy it on Amazon, thank you, but I'll gift it to you free, okay? Because this is what I'm passionate about, is making sure you're educated. So you simply click on the link below or go to laserfund.com and you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that, but I'll pay for the book. I'll fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail. And then while you're in there claiming your free copy, if you like to listen and learn, there's audio versions. If you like to watch and learn, there's video. And there's a master class in there. But while you're in there claiming your free copy, you'll have the opportunity to schedule an appointment with no cost, no obligation to talk to a certified IUL professional. Now, what does that mean? There are tons of insurance agents that sell IUL. 99.99% do not know this kind of terminology and how to do this right, which could cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. I don't want that to happen. So you can talk to an IUL certified professional, and they'll create some illustrations, and you can compare that to the illustrations maybe some agent provided to you, and you'll be shocked at the difference, okay? And I would recommend you use a certified professional so that you do it right. Otherwise, you're going to waste or miss out on hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, if you're an IUL professional and you're watching this episode, I hope you're getting it. I'm hoping that you're going to want to learn how to do it right. Because if you have a client that reads this book and sees an illustration of one done right, you're going to be super embarrassed. If you're really passionate about doing it the right way and being the best agent for your clients, I would recommend you go to IULinsiders.com and join this coalition and network and begin to learn about how to do it right so you can define terminology instead of humming and hawing and trying to fake it, okay? I'm pretty adamant about this, but then the ultimate goal in IUL Insiders is for you to become a certified IUL professional. What is that? You must pass a proficiency exam that's 100 questions. It's not an easy exam. Most advisors, even IUL agents, wouldn't even score 20% on this exam because they wouldn't understand 80% of the questions. How pathetic is that? But you must score 100% on the exam. And if you're a member of the general public, you want to work with somebody who scored 100% on that exam so you don't miss out on one single benefit. So no matter whether you're a member of the general public, you're a professional, make sure you understand this terminology. That's what this is all about. It's not about me, it's about you. And I want you to have one structured correctly for yourself. And if you're a professional, I want you to be able to understand how to do it right for your clients.